Hey guys, it is Cthulthu here, and yeah, I'm playing RuneScape, believe it or not. So it's been it's been a couple of months, if not a little bit more, whenever Divination was released, basically. But yeah, I've got the next 10 days off from work for the Christmas holidays, and I thought, well, why not play a bit of RuneScape? So far, I've actually played, well, what have I played? I played Terra, I've played Dungeon Keeper, what else? I played Fallen Enchantress, just a random game that was really cheap on Steam, and I thought I'd give that a go because it looked like the kind of game that I'd play, and I guess it kind of is, but there's just so much to learn. It's a bit of a drag, but it's the kind of Civilization 5 game, but with, well, orcs, elves, and whatever else. Yeah, so that's what I've been doing so far. It's been a couple of days into my little break. And I'm back into work on the 2nd of January. So yeah, I thought I'd spend this time to at least log into RuneScape once, and yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I always think to myself, you know, I've played RuneScape for such a long time, and I've loved the game for such a long time, and you know, if I keep coming back to it, I mean, what it all boils down to is whether I enjoy the combat system or not, because whatever I do in the game, and most things centre around getting a bit more money and becoming that little bit richer. Why do I do that? It all boils down to combat, and that's where I want it all to go on to, and if you can't enjoy the combat system, then what's the point of playing at all? That's the kind of way I've started thinking. At least that's the way I've been thinking the last year now, but I thought, you know what, well, things change. I mean, opinions change, tastes change. You know, you go from liking one thing to not liking it because you've done it too much, you've eaten it too much, you've played it too much. But then also you can get back into a game. I thought, you know what, I'm going to give the combat system another go. So, but this time I'm going to try and take it a little bit more seriously than before. In order to do that, I've decided I'm only doing melee. I can only take, you know, this whole EOC one step at a time. So that one step is just melee for now. No big bosses or anything like that. Just frost dragons, just some nice normal monsters, you know. See if I can get back into Slayer, because if I can get back into Slayer, I can get back into anything. So yeah, this is what I'm trying to do, and well, for that to be achievable, for me to succeed, I definitely need your guys' help. Those of you that still play, obviously, but also then those of you that are experienced with EOC, you know, I need your guys' help to help me get back into this. So this is what I need from you. I mean, I need you to tell me what I need to do to make myself a good player, when it comes to melee combat, I guess. So one of the aspects of that is understanding this ability system a little bit more. Not obviously how it works, because, well, the ability system is used in literally every single MMORPG out there, which is why it was so disappointing that RuneScape had to become generic like that. But yeah, I mean, as in understanding the actual abilities themselves, what they do, why people use certain ones but don't use the others, and what it all means. So, for example, there's this one combat ability. I believe it's demonstrated by like a hand or something like that. But then another one that is demonstrated by a foot, and they both have the exact same descriptions. I think one's obviously then in the attack section, one's in the strength section. They both seem to have the same requirements, and so I'm stumped. I'm thinking, these are the exact same abilities. Why would one use one over the other? What is the point? I don't know if that is still there, because that was my thought on that at least a year ago now. But yeah, so I need to understand more about these abilities, which ones to be using, you know, maybe even why you would use an ability at a certain place but not in another. And when I'm talking about abilities, let me refine it even more than that. So we are talking about two-handed, no, not two-handed, dual-wielded, there we go. We're talking about dual-wielded weapons firstly, abilities for dual-wielded weapons, and then also ones that I can use generically for anything as well, regardless of what my attack stance is, etc. But yeah, so that I can use it for dual-wielding. And then I've only got attack in mind. I don't care too much about defense. I mean, I guess you can tell me a couple of defensive moves if you think it's really helpful. You know, things that regain my HP or stop me from getting hit, but only if you think it's relevant, and also then relevant for Slayer and Frost Dragons, really. So yeah, tell me about those abilities. So yeah, hopefully that's refined it a bit. Otherwise, you'd probably end up telling me about abilities with shields and two-handed weapon abilities, which I don't want to know about. Though, having said that, while I would never consider using a shield, because I've always been someone that would rather go, you know, all-out attack, I do need to know, obviously, the difference between, you know, using two-handed weapons and using dual-wielded weapons, and which is actually better. Or maybe, again, it differs depending on where you are, so tell me what you would then prefer for Frost Dragons, because I've seen people use the Chaotic Maul, but I've also then seen people use dual-wielded rapiers, so I'm a bit confused. I don't know which is best. Why would someone use a maul at all? Because I've always assumed that stab is the best. So that was a bit confusing, but someone can clarify for me here. But yeah, just tell me what you think is best. And I mean, not just one person's opinions, though obviously if you agree with one person's opinions, please then thumbs up that comment. But yeah, I want to go with whatever the majority says. That's what I want to go with. So, you know, give me your opinion or support someone else's opinion if someone already has the same as you would. Then what else? So then there's also my gear, I guess I need to improve. If I'm going to improve my ability to use abilities, I need to improve my gear as well. Right now I'm using Virax. My thinking is, given that I'm going for all-out attack, that only leaves me with one option, and that's full Torva. So tell me if I'm wrong in thinking that. Tell me if there's something actually better than Torva in terms of not only getting a decent attack, but also more importantly, in terms of getting a decent defense, but also then that attack bonus on top. So the only two pieces of armor that come to mind is Bandos and Torva for me. So I'm assuming that full Torva. As you can tell, I've got a cold. But yeah, I'm assuming full Torva, and that includes the gloves and the boots. I'm assuming that's the best. Obviously, I think of items like Steadfast Boots and of Goliath Gloves, but again, tell me if I'm wrong. I think that those now are purely defensive items. They don't have any bonuses in terms of attack. So, you know, those are two then items that I would not consider anymore, whereas those are currently items I'm using right now. Well, not the Steadfast Boots, I'm using Dragon Boots, but in terms of the Goliath Gloves, I'm using those, and I don't know if they're really giving me any real benefit when it comes to attack. And they certainly aren't doing much for defense, let's face it. I mean, they're minor items compared to, you know, the main tassets and chestplate that you would have. So yeah, those are two changes I'm going to be making, or rather the whole Torva change. Then also, what else is there? Tell me if the cape I'm wearing is the best that I could be, or, you know, taking into account that I'm not going to be putting too much effort into getting my gear up. That means that I'm not getting Completionist Cape back, because I'd have to get Divination for that. So yeah, that's certainly not a consideration for now, though certainly if you can help me get back into this game, and if I enjoy what I'm doing, then that, you know, that would probably be one of my top priorities, to get back my Completionist Cape. But for now, you know, any cape that I can get without having to do too much work, is there anything better than the one that I'm wearing right now? So obviously, again, it discludes the Completionist Cape. It also discludes the Max Cape, given that I'm sure Divination is part of that requirement now. And again, not something I'm going to be doing, because it would take far too much time. I'm not spending these few days I have off on Divination. And then what else is there? There's the necklace as well. Just to give you an idea of how long it's been since I've been away. I mean, well, actually, no, it was EOC. It was when EOC was released that I really stopped then playing. But yeah, so I'm not familiar with all these Saradomin necklaces, but I'm guessing the Saradomin necklace for melee is then better than Fury. I know Fury is an all-rounder, but again, just concentrating on melee, so I'm assuming the Saradomin necklace is the best. The ring that I'm using, again, it goes back to, you know, I'm not putting too much effort into getting good gear. So I'm using a Berserker imbued. I'm sure Onyx is probably better imbued, but I don't have an Onyx imbued, so I'm not going to be spending what little time I have getting it. So again, unless there's anything better than Zerker imbued that I could buy or could get very, very easily, then I don't want to consider it. And then, yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Dry ogre rapiers, I guess. Again, tell me if I'm wrong in thinking that, but I'm assuming stab is best for these guys, in which case the rapier is probably best. And then from that assumption, I'm guessing that dry ogre is better than chaotic, and I'm guessing dry ogre is still the best of its stab kind. If there is a better stab weapon, obviously, let me know. But again, dual wielded. Right then, so I think I've been through everything there, and as usual I talk pretty quickly, and as usual I'd never intend to make a long video, but it's come up to the 10-minute mark and I've already started rambling. I don't think there's anything else to mention, but yeah, this is the first stage in possibly me coming back to RuneScape, and that is trying to enjoy combat. And obviously, you know, Frost Dragons was the option, given that I can make a bit of money from it, and you know, like I said before, I mean, when I do log into RuneScape, it's probably something to do with money, and 2 or 3 days ago, that's exactly why I logged in. It was for finding out a little bit more about this Black Santa hat, to see how much money I could make, and also I bought 3 Santa hats at 150 mil, and today I sold them for 157, so that's a nice 21 mil profit out of nowhere. Some things never change, and the one thing that never changes is that start of December, people seem to buy Santas. Middle of December, people start to panic sell very soon before Christmas. And then about 3-4 days before Christmas, all of a sudden they seem to go up in price. So it's just about finding that rock bottom price towards the middle of December, and then selling them, you know, at a profit sometime after. You know, not necessarily making the most of it. I don't know when is always best to sell, but hey, when I've made 21 mil from 3 Santas, that's the time to sell. I don't care if I would have made, you know, double that, you know, thereafter. It's about the there and now that matters. So yeah, some things never change, and Santa hats never change. Though I guess this Black Santa might add an added element of well, of randomness for next year, but certainly not this year anyway. So yes, that is it. I mean, obviously, given the way this video is gone and of this advice I'm going through, naturally there will be at least one follow-up video with the gear and with the abilities that you recommend for me, and anything else that you recommend for me. So yeah, let's not cap it at that. You know, anything related to me killing frost dragons that will make me, you know, a better meleeer, let me know about it. You know, even if it is something basic. I mean, things that come to mind straight away for me are prayers and overloads and turmoil and soul split and vampirism, which I'm using as my 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 aura. Those have all come straight to me, but there might be something that I'm completely missing. For example, I only just learnt that there's this blue dot that goes around the frost dragon now, and if you attack it then it will do damage to you instead of you doing damage to it, and something like that. I've only just found that out, and that's after I've made this video. So, you know, if I hadn't have known that now, that would have been useful advice for you to have given me. But now I do know that. I'm guessing that all the major times where I started to lose HP like mad, that was probably when the blue dot was then on the dragon, I'm guessing. I'll probably watch the video back myself anyway. Anyway guys, thank you for watching, and until next time, see you around.